Flamin' Hot is presented by Botano. The game starts now. Here are your hosts, Brent Wallace, Jason York, and Bobby Ryan.
Good Thursday afternoon, everybody. Brent Wallace alongside Bobby Ryan as Jason York. Well, to be honest, he has a house showing. It's supposed to end right now, so he'll be a couple minutes late. Bobby, you know all about that.
The house showing, yes. I had no idea that we were flying 2 instead of 3, but that's okay. But I do know about that, so I'm going to give him a break.
Yeah, so he'll be here. He'll be here shortly. This show is always brought to you by Botano. Go to botano.ca. All right, so we need 3 people for the show, so I will not wait any longer and bring in NHL Insider and host of DFO Daily, dailyfaceoff.com, Frank Seravalli. Welcome to the show as we now have, I guess, Philadelphia well represented in our show.
We do. Cherry Hill's finest, Bobby Ryan.
Yeah.
And now there's just one. Jamie Drysdale signed. Shane Pinto, where are you at?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yep.
So you're not wasting any time, Frank. So let's get right to it then. Do we take, I think it's Drysdale at 2.3 mil. Not a bad number. I don't think Pinto gets that high, though.
Well, it's actually really the term that's surprising to me for Jamie Drysdale. He's in a spot where he needed 2 additional accrued seasons to hit 10 games. And I think the Ducks actually kind of worked him over a little bit. Pat Verbeek has pushed back against that, but he felt like he was healthy to play in 2 additional games last season to get to 10, which would have cut that number to 1, which would have meant you could have signed a 2-year deal, and then you would have been ARB eligible in the second year. But because he didn't, it kind of forced him into a 3-year deal, and that's probably pretty disappointing for him. Just essentially what it does is ends up limiting your earning potential. So not to say 2.3 is, shabby or anything like that, but this is a guy that 2 years ago we were saying before the injury is one of the bright young stars in the blue line in the NHL, and now he's locked up for 3 years at a really inexpensive number for the Ducks.
All right, so what do you know about Shane Pinto? Are we going to see him anytime soon? Is this going to drag on? We know that, I believe, doesn't he not have the same agent that William Nylander had who didn't sign until December 1st?
He does, but he also has the same agent that last year when it came time for Rasmus Sandin to come to terms on a deal with the Leafs in a similar situation. They had some injuries on the back end and he called and got it done. So I don't know that the agent really has anything to do with it. I don't know that he's necessarily driving the bus. The fact of the matter is Shane Pinto scoring 21 goals last year is a guy that is due a significant raise. And he's not signed because his agent is standing in the way. He's not signed because the Ottawa Senators don't have the cap space. Right. And by the way, it was hilarious to see your face as you asked the question. Just absolute disgust talking about this for what probably feels like the 87th day in a row.
87 seems short.
Yeah.
Okay, so this all ties into cap space. I understand where we're at with Shane Pinto, but now we're into do we hit the panic button on Josh Norris and do we free up some cash, but only momentarily, right? You can't just go and sign Shane Pinto if you put Josh Norris on LTIR and then just sort of wait to see what happens with Josh. You're going to still have to make a move at that point, aren't you?
You are, but I'm always a fan of using whatever avenue or resource you have in front of you to get something done, particularly since I'm more than mildly, I'm pretty significantly concerned about Josh Norris and his shoulder. Like, this graphic says it all. 74 of the last 127 games going back to college. Like, this is a significant injury. And the fact that he had all of this time since last season to get this right, and it still isn't. First off, there's a lot of things that can happen in a season, as you guys all know. So my thought process would be use the space that you have right now to get something done with Shane Pinto and provide your team that needs to get off to a good start some solid support system down the middle. And whatever happens after that, whether it means everyone's healthy and the best case scenario, Josh Norris is healthy and he comes back and you have to rip the Band-Aid off and pay a significant price because you're backed into a corner to move off of Matthew Joseph or whoever it might be, then you deal with that then. But in the meantime, what if pick random guy on the roster? What if so-and-so gets hurt that you never need to be backed into that corner and you always have an out? And the whole time Shane Pinto could have been signed, and yet you're sitting here kind of languishing without two really important centers.
Yeah. Like it went from having Stützle, Norris, Pinto, and Kastelic to now Stützle, Ridley Gregg, Rourke Chartier, and Mark Kastelic. That's a vastly different team down the middle of the ice, and I think a vastly different team in how this plays. So
looks like an AHL center lineup to me.
Yes. And so this is the lineup going tonight in Winnipeg. Now Batherson's not playing and McEwen's not playing. But this is basically how the middle of the ice looks right now for the Ottawa to go into the season. Bobby, I want to ask you something as a player. TSN 1200 posted video of Josh Norris skating today in Winnipeg. Now, it was at the other end of the ice. He was skating with Batherson, healthy scratches. Healthy, I guess, is not the right term for Josh Norris. But can you tell me what you see as he takes this shot? Do we read anything into any of this?
Based on the shot? No. I mean, he's got full.
That's all I got.
Like, that is yeah. So we're going off of very little, but and he doesn't take one, he takes 3 or 4, and he comes back around. When I'm breaking down a shot from a guy that is obviously a shooter, and he's a goal scorer, he's got full torque in that right now. I've been a very major proponent of the fact that I'm not reading much into it. I think they're just being abundantly cautious because this is a player that's missed so much time. I could be wrong. I don't think they're going to rush a guy into this is essentially a 3 and 4, whether he played in any or not, right? They're not going to put a guy into a situation that has missed the amount of time that he has missed with an injury that could get tweaked against the team that doesn't matter at this point. I just think that they're saving him for the regular season. I think he's fine. You can't watch a guy lean into a shot that much and really, really have a problem with it. Ask me again in 3 days and it might be a completely different situation. But I think that maybe he gets his feet wet against Montreal, the last game, the tune-up game where you have basically your full roster, maybe a guy or two missing. And then I'm going to go from there. But right now I'm not worried about it. I just think they're not exposing him to anything that's going to do him long-term damage.
And that's the smart play, right? Is to be as conservative and cautious as possible. But for someone that is seemingly not as concerned as you are you going to be holding your breath in those first few regular season games? Like, I personally want to see him come through this preseason battle tested. Yeah. What you're able to take on. Doesn't matter who's hitting you, what angle, when or where, you're ready to go and you're bulletproof.
I think there's No, I'd agree with you in a sense, but I think there's an argument for both sides. The amount of guys that have gotten hurt in the past by a routine hit in preseason that doesn't actually occur during the regular season, whether it's a guy rubbing you out well after you move the pass, whatever it might be. There's just different things. The game actually slows down the game slows down the closer you get to preseason for guys like him. You don't have guys running out of their way to do things. You don't have guys it becomes more systematic. It becomes more of an NHL caliber game. And I think
less like the Mark Stone hits, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. We haven't even really got into that one, but I just think the game slows down for guys like that. And I just don't think that they want to put them in a position to get that kind of hit for no reason whatsoever. But that doesn't change the fact that, like you said, the first couple games, I'm a little wary. I'm a little worried about them.
I think my big thing is, given that you got through the whole summer and you should be ready to hit the ground running, and there was a tweak sort of right before training camp, that's I wouldn't be concerned or alarmed. And I'd say, for once and for all, you finally got this thing fixed. Let's go. But that's what sort of has me feeling differently about it.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely understand that. Just from, and this is, I haven't texted the player. I wouldn't do that, but I would say that knowing him and knowing the result of him coming back a little earlier than he probably should have last time and taking a couple shifts against Winnipeg the last time he got hurt there. I'm just not exposing him until my guess is Josh is probably saying I'm effing fine. Let me play. And they're saying, no, just give it a couple more days, because pretty soon we're going to be playing every single game that matters.
And I don't think he should be playing in Winnipeg. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it was Pierre Dorion, I think, on day one of camp or going into the first exhibition game that said Josh Norris could play tonight if he had to, or play tomorrow if he had to, something along those lines.
Right.
There's been 2 setbacks in training camp. So either they're using word salad and just making up words and like, oh, he tweaked this, or it's not 100% or whatever. I just want to see him get some reps in. And I don't know, like, it's the preseason. I understand people run around, but I still think that he needs to play some in order to find out how this shoulder is going to react. There just seems to be a way too much cautious play here that I need to see my number 2 center, especially without Shane Pinto in the lineup.
Think about how good the Sens look, though, with a healthy Josh Norris, with Shane Pinto.
Yeah, kind of scary.
Like it's a game changer, and it's a team that I look at on paper and I go, not playoff team to playoff team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
I would absolutely like, and we're gonna do this again on Monday, and I can't wait to do it when we talk about whether or not he played the last game, because that's going to change my attitude a little bit.
I don't think he plays.
Right. Yeah. What?
I don't think he plays.
At all in the preseason?
No, there's only one game left. Montreal. I don't see it.
Yeah, but if he doesn't play, then do you see him in game 1?
Well, then they come out and either have to say he's on LTIR or not. But I don't know. There's nothing about me right now that feels confident in Josh Norris's injury.
Fair. I think we see him on Saturday night against Montreal, and then he's good to go.
I think no matter what preseason game he plays in, whether he plays in game 1 or game 14, until we get through a huge chunk of this year and he's fine, that data that we just showed, 74 of 125 or whatever the number is, it's overwhelming. Like you're going to be holding your breath the whole time.
Yes. Frank, we appreciate your time. We look forward to, maybe we're going to chat this some more. Day 88, day 89.
I got to see Michael Anlauer yesterday too at the Board of Governors meeting. That was fun.
Yes. And did you have a chat?
Good things coming. He said he's already begun discussions on the arena, and he would like to spruce up Canadian Tire Center with some improvements, because he said it's going to be a minimum of 5 years probably. And he would like to continue filling out the hockey ops department and give not just the team, but the players everything that they need to be, quote, best in class. So good news.
Perfect. I'm excited for him. I think he's just a fantastic individual. I just can't wait to see what all transpires with how it's gone. And certainly it's gone well so far with the additions he's already made. Frank,
I just can't wait to see Ottawa finally reach its potential of what it could be, because the last while here, it definitely wasn't.
And hopefully just the off-season stuff and just the off-ice stuff just ends, right? It just quiets down. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
All right, Frank.
Take
care, my friend. We appreciate you stopping by.
Good to see you guys. Have a good year.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You too. Frank Seravalli from Daily Faceoff. Fantastic gentleman, as we spent many a time together on the road. Jason York, welcome to the show. We also have Ryan Dzingel standing by. We'll get to Ryan in just a sec. Yorkie, did you sell the house?
Well, good news. They stayed the whole half an hour, so that's usually a good
hour showing.
Half an hour. Then they stood outside, Bobby, and they sat back and they looked at the house, and I was spying from down the road.
That's amazing. I had a guy here for an hour last week that bought a house right around the corner, so perfect.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I was just listening to the tail end of your guys' conversation. I got a story for you guys, because we're all trying to figure it out. Everyone that's watching the pod today, everyone's talking about Josh Norris. Hot button topic here. I don't know about you, Bob, but I had shoulder surgery in April. Rehabbed it all summer, feeling pretty good. told you guys the story about when I came to camp, and then I immediately had eye surgery. So I had shoulder surgery in April, eye surgery in September. I missed all of training camp, like not just exhibition. I didn't skate, so I basically didn't skate for a month, coming off shoulder surgery and eye surgery. And then I came back and I played the first game of the regular season. I got in 3 practices, boom, ready to go. But it wasn't very good for like 3 weeks. So that's the caveat to that story there. So it can be done. Like, just because Norris could possibly miss another game doesn't mean he's necessarily going to miss the first game of the season. Like, it's not like he hasn't been skating. He's not in shape. And believe me, if he's close to being ready, they're going to want him playing.
Yeah.
They especially with Pinto not being here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. I heard Bob there. Let's wait. Let's reconvene. See what happens on the weekend here. See where Norris is at. But hey, I told you my spidey sense was up when he showed up in camp at the with the non-contact jersey on. I'm like, I got a bad feeling, but we'll see. Like I said, like, what do you think, Bob?
I just don't panic until you don't see him in the last exhibition game. Exactly. For me, I don't. If you dress primarily your last game as a tune-up, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that I always give a grace period for the last game for 3 to 4 guys, whether that be 2 offense, 2 defense, and you're just trying to get a look for what works in 6 and 7 on the 11, 12, and 13 on forward. If I don't see Josh in that lineup, then I start to question the actual health. But right now, I'm not worried. Come again at me on Monday. That's all I have to say. Just let's just get to Monday and then we'll go from there.
I don't appreciate the fact you two are very calm about this. I want the sky falling. Okay.
But
sorry about that. Yeah.
Ottawa does love a good panic button. Like I tweeted that out the other day. Everyone was talking about Norris and like you see all the panic button gifs, and it is comical.
Yeah.
I do.
All right, we got to move on.
Let's get Dum in here.
Yeah.
Is he ready?
Yes. Yes. Ryan Dzingel, stand by. But first, before we get to him, so he doesn't have to sit through these, time for some sponsor reads, shall we? But this show, as we like to always say, proudly presented by Botano. Go to botano.ca, download the award-winning app, do live bet building, same game parlays. There is a thing, if you bet on the team to win and they're up by 3 goals, you automatically win. You can check that out. And coming up in 2 days, Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, join myself, Nick Alberga from the Nation or the Leafs Nation. Live trivia, true and false questions. Just you don't have to deposit any money. You just have to sign up for an account, and then you can participate. So join us 9 p.m. live for trivia with Botano. It's in there, botano.ca/casino. You'll find it there. All right. Oh, sorry. And by BEI, Bonnechere Excavating. They are into the beautiful home building section. The Wren subdivision, just an hour west of Ottawa. All kinds of floor plans for you to choose from, all kinds of upgrades, of course. Terry and home warranty, beautiful location. And they have multiple prices starting as low as $500,000. BonnechereHomes.com. Okay. Without further ado, as I'm not using the name that Bobby just used, but I'd like to welcome in my friend, Ryan Dzingel, to the show.
Holy cow. I can't believe I actually got on here. I was waiting on the sidelines like I normally am, but hey,
wait a second.
I talk too much.
Did Bobby not tell you it was going to be like 3:15?
You think this guy told me anything? Come on now.
He also
you're talking to.
He should have said turn a light on. It looks like you're in a witness protection program.
I literally hold on. Do I need to get up here right now? I'm in the living room of my house.
We need the muffled voice. Get the muffled voice, distorted voice. Can't see his face right now.
Is it that bad, guys?
No.
Do I need to move a little bit?
Oh,
is that better?
There you go.
Is there too much sunlight behind me or what?
If you like to brag about being in Arizona.
Here, let me turn this for you. You guys are yelling at me already. There you go. How's that?
Oh, hey.
Is that good?
There we go. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Golf in the background.
Shocking. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing? It was nice listening to you a little bit. I was sitting there for 30 minutes thinking, hey, I feel like I'm on the bench my first year. We'll watch Bobby doing his thing. So it's nothing new to me.
Bob, I'll let you take this. Oh, now Bob's muted his mic.
Is Bob mute his mic? We're off to a great start here.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah.
He's back.
I apologize. Hey, Dzingel, 30 minutes to do your hair while you're on the sidelines. Like every game we've ever played, buddy.
I got a hat on, all right? Leave me alone.
Who spent more time on their hair? Who spent more time on their hair, you or Mike Hoffman?
Well, Mike had an absolute gel mitt, but I have a widow's peak, so I was always covering the widow's peak when we're taking hot laps and warm-ups, and my hair's blowing. I got a widow's peak, and they're always chirping me. I was just trying to cover the widow's peak, keeping that thing down. It had nothing to do with the hair.
It's so good. Hoff used to turn away from, so they would send the camera in for a minute just before the warm-up or whatever, start of the game, to get shots, and you get to shoot 3 people. Hoff, if they knew they were coming in for him, would turn his back and then go back into the washroom area and do his hair again and come back out. That was always Hoff.
Yeah, I wasn't too worried about the hair as much as the hairline. I was trying to cover the widow's peak. It's always my thing. I was always weird about my widow's peak. So it had nothing to do with the hair. All right, leave me alone.
That hairline started running back around 22, 23 years old. Hey.
Yeah, you're a hard 6, buddy. You're lucky you're rich. All right, you're lucky.
Hey, Wally, we've been over this. Zinger, you're rich. I'm wealthy.
Yeah. I love that line.
You're still ugly. You're still ugly, all right?
No, that's true. That's true. Hey, I'm always going to be shaped like a pear, and Ryan's going to be bald at 35.
Oh, God.
Hey, they got things for that. Hey, I can get a little transplant. I'm not too worried about it. Your bad body and face are going to be there for life, all right? Don't be coming at my hair.
That's why I got a podcast.
You should be on the radio. You have a face for radio, buddy.
Oh, get back to work. All right. What do you got, Wally?
Well, I got lots of questions.
I can't take a beating anymore.
For those who don't know, Ryan played 7 seasons so far in the National Hockey League, 404 games, 5 teams, twice with Ottawa. His 59 goals from 2016-17 to the 2018-19 season, second most on the Ottawa Senators, just behind one Matt Duchene, who scored 70, and a 7th round pick who's done very well for himself. So just thought a little info on who Ryan Dzingel is. But definitely, I would think, I tried to find a bunch of these pictures, but you smiled probably more than most on the ice, I will say. You seem to always enjoy being on the ice.
I think maybe back in the Ottawa days, I enjoyed it on the ice, but lately it hasn't been too much fun. I mean, seeing this guy in warm-ups, that's all time. So, I mean, you can't, I'm obviously going to be smiling a lot looking at this idiot down on the other end, but yeah, I used to enjoy the game a lot more than I have recently, but yeah, I try to enjoy it as much as I can.
Okay. So what's in that conversation right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll call you after. I don't know if that's going to be allowed on the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Something good. This is probably how it went down. He walked up. He's like, said something stupid, chuckled at his own joke. And then he's probably talking about how tight he is. It's going to be a tough one tonight. And then he's probably cutting some deals. He's looking at who else do I need to cut around here. He's looking at who's on Columbus right now that might run him from behind. And he's going to probably tell me to go talk to him. And then he's going to crack another joke. And no, I'm just kidding. I was probably just talking about life and whatever else. But yeah, going in warm-ups and being able to see your buddies is definitely a cool thing. So getting a stretch next to him. And I never saw that picture, so that's a pretty good picture. I might have to frame that one.
Yeah. Bob, Bob, I could see you
right there.
I could see you cutting a few deals. That's just smart business, right? That's good business.
He's the king. He's the king of the cutting. This guy's the king of the cut.
I am. I had no problem throwing a couple hundies over the other side of the ring to make sure. Yeah. I came into the league with Jack Johnson, and that was our deal for 13 years of playing against each other. You don't run me, I don't run you, at the end of the night, we high five.
Fair enough.
And nobody's hurt.
So
That's an interesting picture right there. That's after I got hit with a Carlson slap shot right in the head, and that guy never said sorry. I got that earpiece in right now.
Yeah, I was going to look at the earpiece there.
Yeah, that's why I got hit by a slap shot by Carl, and this guy never apologized. So I'm still looking for one. 48 stitches in my ear. Dr. Chow dialed it in, and this guy no apology. So
I actually feel like that's a picture of me and you talking about where we're going after the game, and Terry's trying to get in on it.
And Bob's like you're invited.
I'm surprised you're allowed to have a picture with you and Terry. I don't even know if.
Yeah, I didn't read my contract well enough.
There's a lot of bad blood there, eh, Zinger? There's some. Bob and Terry.
My old line mates, man. I had to listen to both of them. I'd be on the bench, and Bob would be like, "You go talk to Terry," and I got Terry in my ear. Hey, talk to Bob. Hey, talk to Bob. Tell him to figure it out. I'm sitting there. I'm just trying to stick handle. Just leave me alone, all right?
Actually, before you go further, was that better than having me and Scott Gomez in your ear?
Or you and Dutchie? I mean, you and Terry was probably the easiest, the group. You and Dutchie, or you and Gomez, or whoever else. I think. No, you're always easy. You're just telling me to give you the puck and get the heck out of the way. So
I did, Just put it in the corner and I'll go get it. But I think when Zinger was coming into the league, obviously Gomer signed with us for a little bit at the end of the year there, and like me, for one, grew up on Gomer. You know, not quite. There's an age difference between me and Scotty, and then there's a major age difference between Dzingel and Scotty. And he's like, I grew up idolizing this guy, and he's fucking terrible. And then,
don't put that out there. You kidding me?
And then Gomer would be like, "Don't give the puck to Dzingel," and I'm like, I'm in the middle of the two of them, and yeah, that was always fun.
Oh, I can't believe you just put that out there. Like, thank you.
Zinger, he was a good player. He's Meyer. Gomez was pretty good back in the day.
No, okay. I knew he was a player. Okay, I watched this guy. He's an absolute player. Not going to discredit. I didn't have a career he had, but when he came to us, he was.
I watched.
It kind of with the fishing pole for a little bit. So
yeah,
Bob
there was maybe one comment.
Just throwing you right under the bus, eh? Right under the bus. Come on.
I got stories. Don't worry. They're coming. I'm going to throw this guy under the bus the whole time.
I haven't been excited for a guest before, but I've been waiting on my guy here.
Oh, beautiful.
Just so we're clear, Scott Gomez, everybody knows, was not very good when he came to Ottawa. So
no, he wasn't.
I don't believe you're speaking out of turn.
No, it's all
good. I didn't. Nothing
he
against
was
him.
horrendous.
His career was a lot better than mine. But when he was with us, I was actually playing halfway decent, so he wasn't doing so hot.
Yeah. No. Anyway, I don't even know where to go from there. Oh, okay. Before you guys get into stories, I want to ask a couple of questions. But one, I don't know if you know this, scored the last playoff goal in Ottawa Senators franchise history.
Wow.
So I know you know which one it is, but it's Game 7, tied at 2, or sorry, you tied at 2. Can you take me back to that moment?
I haven't watched that in a while. That gives me goosebumps. That was awesome. I think, look at that. Look at the young stallion. Wow, do I look young? But yeah, I think I played 4 minutes that night. No
8.
joke. I think 8 minutes. Oh,
8,
that's not bad.
I couldn't understand, which is what I wanted to ask about. I think Chris Kelly played less than you.
I think I had 8 because I played 2 shifts in overtime too. So I'm not mistaken. I think I had like 6 minutes. I had a broken hand in that game, actually, but I think it didn't happen until the third period. So that's not an excuse why Boucher sat me on the pine. So I think I was getting sad either way. But I had a broken wrist when I scored that goal, and then I played in overtime, and Boucher, I took, Tortorella, whatever else I could to try to figure it out. And he's like, "Can you play?" And I'm like, "Man, I can't even grab my top hand." He's like, "Can you go skate around?" That's how tired the guys were. He's like, "Can you just go skate around a circle and just figure it out?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can go play defense." So I skated around basically with my bottom hand, my left hand on the stick. And I think I played 2 shifts because guys were so tired. And I was just trying to figure it out. So yeah, I had a broken hand that game. And yeah, that goal was, obviously incredible. And one of the best moments in my hockey career, just that feeling and looking back on that, it's definitely special. But yeah, broken wrist, and 8 minutes was something.
How did you get hurt?
I was going through the neutral zone and I got clipped funny. I don't know if it was by a stick or by a body, and I just broke my hamate bone right in my wrist. It was floating in my palm, and I was looking at my hand, and I'm like, I can't like feel my hand. I didn't know what it was. Obviously, at the time, you're in playoffs. I was thinking I had a bruised rib, bruised knee. Like I was all banged up. So I was like, whatever, like figure it out. And I couldn't even hold anything at all. So I was like, man, I gotta shoot me up with whatever you got. So then it started to feel better, whatever, double overtime or whatever it was when we finally got scored on. But yeah, I was hurting pretty bad.
Was it? So I don't know where Bobby's going. What game was that though that you got hurt? Was it Game 7?
Yeah, Game 7. I broke it in Game 7. I think second or third period. So yeah, there's no excuse for why I was sitting the pine for that much. But I got scratched 2 games before that too. So I think it was just a weird, like that was a weird scenario too. It's always tough coming on podcasts. You don't want to, say too many things or burn bridges or what. But yeah, that was definitely a full weird playoff for me. I thought I was playing really well, and I got to the rink. I think it was a 12 o'clock game in Pittsburgh. That the scratches usually come out the night before, especially in playoffs, right? Like it gets sent in the email, and I wasn't on the list, so I wasn't scratched at all the whole time. I obviously thought I was playing, and I go to the rink, get warmed up. I'm the first guy there as a rookie. That was kind of the rules. And whoever goes and puts the lineup on the board, and my name's not on it. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like looking at the board, I think Chris Neal's the only guy there with me. And I'm looking at him, he's looking at me, and we're like, I guess I'm not playing. I'm like, what the heck do I do? I'm not even warming up. So I'm like, I'm in my gitch, and I'm like looking around, and I'm like half in tears. And at this point, because I figured out like I'm not playing, and I'm like, Neil Dog's like, dude, just put your clothes on and just head back to the hotel, I guess. And I'm like 3 hours before game time, just finding out. I go to put my suit on, and I got so mad. Like I got so frustrated that I was literally looking for Boucher in the hallway. Like I was walking back and forth. I swear to God, this is like, I haven't told anybody this like in forever. I don't think. It just sparked my brain after you showed me that video. And I'm walking through the hallway. I'm like looking for Boucher. Like I'm going to knock him out. Like I'm legit going to swing. I'm literally going to swing at him. And I remember Darren Pang was walking by. I don't know why Panger was there. And he's like, Zinger, you good? Like I'm in full suits pacing. Like he probably looked like, he's like, this guy's nuts. He's probably think I'm getting ready for the game or something like 3 hours before. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna knock this guy out. Like I just got scratched without any warning, and I showed up like a buffoon. I'm sitting here like a buffoon before game time. He's like, go home. He's like, let's go. So he walked me out of the building, and my dad was there, my uncle was there. Like that's something I never even can't even remember bringing up to anybody. But that just sparked my memory like right there. Yeah. So I think I was scratched a couple of those games in that series. Never was told why or anything. So I was having a pretty solid season. I thought I was, contributing in playoffs and stuff. And yeah, I was pacing for Boucher. I was looking for one.
All right.
So safe to say you're not a Boucher guy like Bob?
No, I was a Boucher guy, which was really weird. I still am a Boucher guy. Like I don't know if he's ever going to hear that, or what, I don't really mean to bring that up, but
he doesn't miss an episode.
Oh yeah. Great. No, yeah. So I hope you're lying, but yeah, that's be good. Dialogue as you get older. I'd love to know why. Maybe he didn't even mean to. I'm starting to figure out in the NHL. There's some bad people and there's some really good people, and sometimes things get lost in translation where you think, wow, that was messed up, but he might have not even known. He had a lot to worry about, right? So as I look at it, his view, he's got a team, he's got a championship to win. He's trying to dial everything in, and he might not even have meant to do that. Like my name might have been on the sheet and somebody messed it up,
Now, Zinger, just for a sec here. If you're the coach and you've got 20 guys and 18 skaters, so now you're already down. I'm thinking which ones you want in the lineup. I think at some point you're looking down the bench going, I don't see Ryan Dzingel anywhere.
I'm saying what I was trying to say is maybe he was going to scratch me, but they meant to put it last night, right? And say it on. So that's what I meant. Not obvious. Okay. Obviously I'm saying maybe he wasn't trying to be an absolute jackass and let me show up to the arena. like Longest Yard, he's looking at me, oh, better luck next year, whatever movie that was. That's pretty much what I felt like. Like the Zing, oh, that's Happy Gilmore. He's like, Dzingel, oh, I didn't call your name. Better luck next year. I was literally looking at the sheet, like I was like, oh, like where am I? Am I playing? I'm playing right wing today. Like that's what it felt like, man. So I'm saying now that now that I'm putting this out in the world, I'm saying maybe there was some stuff that he didn't mean to, but man, that was a tough situation for me. And then we lost by 2 touchdowns, I think. So
Yeah.
So you're happy?
No, just
no, I wasn't happy. No, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy, but
we missed it. We
Didn't
lost
hurt.
that game by a point after
Oh.
attempt, and then
I don't know.
I'm sitting in the parking lot, and literally I was steaming still. I was that mad. Like I was like couldn't even go back to the building. I was so frustrated. But yeah, let's move on.
What?
It
I would actually spend a whole hour on just this one game. But anyway, I'm going to ask quickly about the contract because I've never asked you this question. Did you turn down a 5-year, $25 million deal to go to UFA?
No, I turned down a good offer. I think everybody on Twitter world would always talk about that. I think it was, I don't know the exact number, but I think it was around 20 million. So that was a very good deal. It was a very good deal. My wife at the time, the reason why we turned it down, but nobody likes to talk about it, is my wife at the time was told that she had MS. And so we were going through some health issues during that season. She was in Arizona and she was working on a TV show. I think it was for PXG at the time. And her eyes went black and she passed out. And we did all these tests. They did all these MRIs, and she had lesions on her brain. And I remember trying to play that game that night. I was crying in my stall, and Bobby and Brass were hugging me, and I was just trying to figure out what to do. And then I left for 2 months, or not 2 months, 2 weeks actually. Didn't play. I think I missed a couple games actually on the road. So yeah, they told her that she had MS, and when she was in the winter in Ottawa, it was like that bad. Like she would just get sick all the time. She wasn't leaving the house. Like, so the young naive kid that I was, I thought, hey, if I'm getting 20 million here, I could get 15 somewhere else, and that's decent weather closer to her house. So that's why we looked at 3 or 4 teams, and I basically got the same offer but less years. So I took 2 years instead of 5, and thought, hey, I'll figure it out. And we're in Carolina, where it's warm for her and close to Jacksonville, where she's from, so we can go to Mayo Clinic back and forth in Jacksonville. So it was a family decision, and not gonna lie, I looked back and said, man, what if I would have stayed there? What if I would have got opportunity? Because I left and didn't get the opportunity I wanted in places, and then that's how she goes. So I don't look at it as the money as much as the opportunity. Like if I would have stayed there, what would I still have been? I can score with the best of them, but it's hard to score from third line 12 minutes, no power play. So
Yep.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow,
so it was a very good offer. It was a very good offer. I don't even remember exactly what it was, but it was like 5x4, I think.
Okay.
4x4 or 5x4. Yeah, my agent was like, yeah, it was just obviously an amazing deal, and it was just a family decision. And yeah, I was blessed, and it was a blessing, and I was grateful for Ottawa. It was my, I loved it. I mean, they're the only team that took a chance on me, and yeah, so I got a couple. When my career's over and I come back, and yeah, there's some people I like to call and ask some questions about. And, but yeah, I think it was a great offer. And if it wasn't for my wife getting sick, I would have stayed there for sure.
Okay. So I'm glad we had that chat. So
Yeah.
you get traded to Columbus. That particular time was like the dark ages, I feel like, for the organization. That's right. Like Matt Duchene's waiting to get traded.
Yeah.
You are Zach's. I believe that's still the Zach Smith time as well.
Stoney.
And Mark Stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in that Chicago game in the dressing room after. I'm pretty sure it's Chicago, after everybody was scratched, and it was just an ugly vibe. Can you take me through what it was like for you to go through that time waiting to be traded?
Yeah, that was obviously rough for me. This is all I've known was Ottawa, and I've never been through that. And whoever says this is easy, or people on the outside that don't know hockey, it's tough. Like you getting traded, going to a new team, especially during the run. Like if you're not the top dog, if you're not like a Duchene or a Bobby, where you're a 1A, 1B type of player with like the best, and I'm a compliment player. Like I obviously had 25 goals back to back. Like I could play the game, but I wasn't a driver of the play or a top guy. So when I got traded, it's harder to fit in, right? For guys like me, if you're kind of a tweener guy where you're a goal scorer, but you're not the top guy, they have their guys, right? Every team that's going to a playoff run is a very solid team, and they have their guys there built in, and you got to try to like work your way in and figure it out. And that's what I tried to do. And me and Dutchy didn't have the greatest stats the last 20 games. I think I scored like 22 and 50 with Ottawa that year, like something crazy. And then I got there, and I think me and Dutchy both only had 4 goals. And like, I think it was 4 and 20, which is not bad, but it's not good, obviously, for guys like us. But it was just a weird situation for me for the first time, is trying to navigate personalities and just stuff like that, just trying to figure out what to do. So, yeah, that was definitely tough, but it was awesome because I went to Ohio State, and they're obviously right there. So it worked out nicely.
Zinger, you mentioned, how's your wife doing now? Like, how did all that work out with the MS and everything?
Yeah, so we've been to so many doctors, and basically they kind of went in front of what it was. Like, they couldn't claim that just yet. So they kind of overdiagnosed her right away. Like, she might have an autoimmune disorder because of the lesions, because of the eye, because of the nerve stuff. But with those kind of diseases, you kind of just have to wait its course, and it's like a checklist. So they kind of like threw that at her and threw that on us without yeah. So there's like, I'm not going to discredit doctors. They're obviously amazing, but they're a checklist of things. And so her lesions haven't grown in her brain. We go MRIs every 2 years, and we try to dial everything in for her. So she's feeling like pretty good. She obviously has some eye stuff and some weakness, but overall she's been doing really well, and nothing's kind of got any worse. So
man, that's scary. You get that kind of news, and you're in a different city. She's by herself. Like, you could kind of make sense now. You make that decision, right? Like, you're thinking more about lifestyle than money. Like, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, I also figured, like, I was a naive kid. Like, I was thinking, like, okay, 5-year, I get a 4-year. I had 22 and 50. And it just did, like, how do you think, like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you not think that I'm going to get more than 7 million? You know what I mean? Like, how was I supposed to know? And so, like, looking back, obviously it's easy to say, like, take the 20 million instead of 7, but like, look at, I don't want to throw guys' names out, but look at guys get bought out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could have, some guys in Ottawa got bought out and had very good contracts, and obviously you make some more money, but you never know how that's going to work. Could have got bought out the first year. So I was thinking, hey, I bank on myself like I always have, and I ended up signing 2 for 7. You think I would, ball out and do it again, and then obviously it didn't work out as well as I planned, but everything happens for a reason. I'm a believer in God and stuff, and so you can't really look back. Obviously, now it's like, man, if I'm ending my career and I'm going to be 32, 33, I wish I would have 10 more million, but it's easier said than done,
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're 31. Like, you're not officially retired, right?
So I'm trying to figure that out. Like we just said, I've done everything for my family and do things for the right reason. So I don't know if I really want to go to Russia or Switzerland at this point. And just because I have a newborn son, he's 5 months old now. Yeah. And so I don't really want to leave him and head out there. And but we'll see. Yeah, there he is. So we're trying to navigate through that kind of stuff. Like we said before, it's easy to make a decision or look back on a decision, but when you're in the midst of it, it gets tough.
Awesome.
So I'm trying to figure out what the right thing to do is, whether go out and play Russia and see if I can get my career back on track or go do something else, So
Zinger, I'll give you one thing, because I'm 53 now, and I was a little older than you, and I got an offer to go to Russia. And at the time I was like, nope, I'm staying with my family. This is important. But I say now, man, I'd like that money. And I left on the table.
I know. See, I obviously I don't have the experiences of you, life experiences and stuff, and it might be naive to say, but I think I'm going to kill it in whatever I do next. That's where I've kind of always been. Like, I'm not too worried about it. No, I know. I'm not. I like you said, it would be nice for sure. It's big money offer to go out there, and I could be wrong again in 10 years, but I haven't been wrong yet with the family decisions and stuff like that. I haven't looked back on things and said, I wish I did something else. So if I keep doing it for the right reasons, I'll be fine. So, but yeah, money's good too. Ask Bob. Money's not bad either.
Look at him over there. He's still getting paid, Zinger.
I told him send one of those checks my way. I can retire and just send me one. Like all the stuff I've done for this guy, and he's not going to send me one check. My friendship fees.
Friendship fee.
Friendship
guy
dues
lived in my basement, gave me not a dime.
I was broke. Leave me alone. You had those 3 basements.
Guy lived in my basement. But anyway, I didn't want to touch on anything. And it was always Ryan's story to tell why he didn't sign that deal. So I would have said a word, but I was like, I think people gave him a hard time on social media and things. And they're like, why wouldn't he take the security? And I'm like, this is the exact example of why we say there are bigger things at play and guys make decisions that are way more based than just salary. And that's forefront. And nobody likes to give this guy a harder time. We go back and forth on text messages right now 5 days a week because he's a fantasy football loser. But honestly, I was sitting on the couch with Lindsay, my girlfriend, and she's like, Ryan keeps texting me, and I'm like the Dzingel, my teammate. She's like, yeah, he's trying to grease the trade out because this guy's sitting on the waiver wire. So I don't care what you do. I don't care if you go to Russia. I don't care if you do something else. Stop texting my girlfriend.
Hey. Here we go.
All day long, this guy. But I just always think it's important to put things in perspective. Like guys don't sign for a myriad of reasons, right? And Zinger had obviously way different reasons for not taking the security, but he gambled on himself at the same time, and he made the right decision for him and his wife. And we just got to see pictures of them. He obviously pulled her out of a burning car somewhere along the way. So, absolutely no reason she should be talking to him.
Here we go.
She's more famous than you. She's got 300,000 Instagram followers.
What?
She's more famous than Bobby. What do you mean? Like, it is what it is. But but it's funny when people talk about salaries and stuff, and they don't look at the big picture too. Like if you look at, obviously they didn't have the right information, but let's say it was 4 million or 4.1, 4.2. If you get 3.5 in Carolina, you're making the same thing as you are in Ottawa with taxes. So I was equivalent. The salary was going to be the same for those 2 years. I just didn't get those extra 3 years, right? And I'm thinking like, okay, I'm a player. Like I believe in myself. Anybody would. And if you're scoring back-to-back 25-goal season, even if I score 15, I'm going to be making 3. You know what I mean? So it's like, It's like I was like, okay, I might lose a little bit, but I didn't know it was going to be that drastic of a drop-off. Then the next year I signed 1-1 and 1-1. So yeah, obviously you want to bank on yourself, and I thought I would be a player, but obviously with the things the way they worked out, it's tough. It's not like golf. I want my son to play golf. You tee that ball up, you have no excuse. You can't say coach screwed me. I played 9 minutes. I played with Bobby Ryan half in the bag, or I played with I'd rather play with Bobby half in the bag than half the guys I played with the last 2 years. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. It's too many excuses, and it allows you to go to your head and stuff. So it is what it is. I didn't play as good as I should have, but also it's tough when you're playing no power play 10 minutes and you're considered a goal scorer with nobody to get you the puck like Bobby. So it's a little different.
I want to ask, so you've played, here are the coaches you've played for, and it includes Luke Richardson, because I think I'm going to ask you what your favorite is. I want to know your thoughts on Luke Richardson.
You just said it.
Who now has Connor Bedard under his tutelage. So it goes Luke Richardson, Dave Cameron, Guy Boucher, John Tortorella, Rod Brindamore, DJ Smith for 29 games. You also had Andre Tourney and Bob Bugner. We've already touched on Guy. I'm curious about John Tortorella for you.
Okay, to clear up, Guy was one of my favorite coaches besides that incident, so I don't want to go sit here and bash Guy. He was great for me, unbelievable guy, gave me a chance. So that one story was just that came to mind. So Guy was actually very, very good to me. And then Tortorella was it was definitely a weird relationship with Torts, but at the same time I respected him. I think I played 20 or 18 games and he scratched me out of nowhere. And I was in, I think we were in Boston maybe. And I'm sitting in the locker room, like, what? I got 26 goals. Like I'm playing first line or something. And he came in and then yelled at me and told me I was getting scratched. And I was like, what the heck? I was looking around and I was good friends with Dubinsky at the time. And he's like, you got to go yell at him. I'm like, huh? He's like, you got to go yell at this. You got to go get it. You got to go give it to him. I'm like, what? He's like, he wants you to go give it to him. And I remember going in the hallway and yelling back and forth at him, and we're kind of getting into it. And he loved it. Like he just wanted to get you. He just wants to get you going, right? He's so misunderstood at times that he just wants to find a way to get you to your best. So I think he's very calculated and tries to do things that other people don't see. And obviously he does some crazy stuff that may not look great and I wouldn't do myself, but I think he's trying to get the best out of every player, and he knows how to push your buttons and knows how to find them. And I respect him very much. And Kenny McCudden was a really good friend of mine who's very close with him. And I respect Torts a lot. I mean, he does some crazy stuff and he's a crazy dude, but I respect him and I liked playing for him.
Did he still scratch you?
I can't remember. See, I so many things blend together now with my career and stuff. It's like, I don't want to say something that I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure he's like, I'll get you in next game. Like, I'm pretty sure I still got scratched and he was just like, we'll get you in next game. I love the fire or something, but he had my back a couple times too. Cause after that season, there was like a rumor or something that I was missing meetings and didn't want to come back to Columbus. And it kind of got out to like other GMs or something. And I called Torts and I'm like, Torts, did you tell everyone I was missing meetings? Like he's like, no. He's like, what? He's like, I would never do that. He's like, who did it? He's like accusing all these other people. He's getting all mad. He's getting all fired up. He's like, I'll take care of this. He made some calls and he's an honest dude. And I like that. I like guys that instead of sugarcoating, why am I in the fourth line? Oh, you're playing well. And you just keep working hard. It's like, no, I'm on the fourth line playing 8 minutes. I stink. Like, tell me what to do. Torts will tell you what to do. So you got to respect them. He's going to say, hey, you figure it out. This is where you stand on this team. This is where you stand with me, and you better figure it out or you better do something. So I respect him a lot.
That's interesting because Zinger, there's so much stuff about Babcock right now, like doing conniving stuff behind guys' back, playing mind games with guys. But Torts, according to you, you know where you stand all the time, he's on.
Yeah, I mean, I think like when anyone comes to a new team or you get a new guy on a team and you say, oh, this guy's a terrible guy. Like we were cautioned in Ottawa a couple of times, guys came in and, oh, this guy's a bad guy. Like, be careful or this and that. And then you meet them and it's completely different than what you thought. So I think, guys or coaches can be bad guys, but you have to find your own experiences with them and you have to make a read off that guy from what you know and how he treats you. So, I can't, I know some stories from guys that I trust and I'm really good friends with that he did some things that I wouldn't agree with, but for my experience, this is what I saw out of him. And that's how he treated me, with respect, and did some crazy stuff. But, I knew where I stood and stuff. So, I can't discredit some of the other stuff I hear and stuff like that. But for me, my opinion, I like him.
Yeah. Can you crazy stuff? Anything you could share? As far as you gotta have one good Torts story. Come on.
Yeah, like I could sit here for I could tell you some crazy stuff about. I want to write a book eventually. Like I could tell you some crazy. Like I had such a short, not short career. I had a long career, but I should have played more games. But I literally have so many stories. I just talking with Bobby. We were texting before. I'm like, how about this? How about that? Like I'm trying to it's harder to. You don't want it out there forever, but. And you're trying to be careful with what you say. And I'm the worst with if something comes to my head, it's coming out. But one of the greatest stories, me and Dutchy this is an amazing story. This is all right, whatever. It is. What am I going to do? It is what it is. So we get traded to Columbus and we're in this closed door meeting. We just get there. I think maybe 2 days in, we have the craziest flight. We almost die on this flight. It was literally 50-mile-an-hour winds. It was nuts. We land, we get in this closed door meeting with Torts. And I'm kid you not, for 3 hours in I think it was Vancouver's practice rink or something. Me and Dutchy, our heads are down and we're trying not to die laughing. Torts is annihilating everybody in there. He walks in, he grabs a thing, he goes, throws it over Bob's shoulder. And he's like, yeah, I knew you wouldn't stop that. And he starts just going after Bob. And
Bobrovsky.
So Bobrovsky and Panarin, I guess there was some weird fake issues with them. And he was trying to test them to see if they wanted to be on the team, if they wanted to make playoffs. And oh man, I was just crying. So I remember he was going after Panarin because Panarin wanted to play with Dutchy and didn't want to play with Atkinson. And he was like, "Oh, you told me you're better righty than Atkinson's lefty," and like was going all this stuff. And I remember he goes, "Do you want to play with Atkinson? Do you want to win? Do you want the Columbus Blue Jackets to win?" And Panarin's like, Aki is good, but I play with Duchesne. Like complete opposite of what he wanted to say. He's like, and me and Dutchy, I was crying, laughing. He's like, I play with Duchesne. Okay. And then I think Torts didn't even know what to do, and so he just snapped and went over to Bobrovsky, and Bobrovsky's like, "I Russian, Panarin Russian, so you come after me too?" Like, dude, it was nuts. It was a full-on melee, and I'm crying, laughing. Maybe that's why Torts scratched me, because I was dying laughing at his speech, but. Man, it was so funny. He was that I could tell that story for like 35 minutes, like at a glass of red wine and us going to dinner, but it was amazing. Like the stuff that he was saying to Panarin was just comical. Like it was amazing.
And Panarin goes back, no, I play with Dutchy.
Yeah, no, he's okay, but the Duchesne much better. I take Duchesne. That's what he said. Dude, we were crying.
It's so good.
Bob, I don't know what's in the text messages, so should I just let you ask some questions?
Bob wants this one story because he loves this story, and he's always been trying to get it out. He's like, "Oh, why don't you tell this story? Why don't you tell this story?" So I'm going to do it for him because it was.
Wait a second. No, I was trying to figure out one of our PG-13 ones.
No, that's no good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Bob used to like the sauce a little bit too much, so we're sitting at his. Oh, I'm going to back up. I got some time, right? What do we got here?
You got all the time in the world.
Okay, so I'm like Ottawa. They do the come to camp early and you have a chance to make the team. Like you got to be there. Every team does it now, and I if I ever become anything in GM or coach world, I'm gonna scratch that. Like everyone has their place. That's amazing. Everybody has their training everywhere now. It's elite. Every place, every state has somebody elite. But these teams like bring guys in and act like you can make it. So they. Pierre, whoever told me to come, it was Randy Lee or something. Yeah, come down and you have a chance to make it. So I'm like, I got no money. I just signed for $80K. I think I'm rich. I bought a car. I got nothing left. So I'm like, I can't spend 2 months at a hotel. So I'm like looking at who's American on the team. I'm like, Bobby Ryan. I'm like, there's no way this guy's gonna text me back. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm like, all right, whatever. Hey Bob, this is Ryan Dzingel. Like, anyway, I could stay in your basement for a month. Like, this is a flyer. Like, looking back, I'm like, why did they even send this text? Like, thinking it again, I'm like, I'm an idiot. So I'm like, Bob, let me stay at your house. And he's like, absolutely. I'm like, what? First text is absolutely. He's like, get down here right now. And I'm like, wow, this guy's unreal. Like, I get down there. The setup was unbelievable. Like, better than anything I've ever stayed in. Like, food's dialed in every night for cooking. Like, this guy's got a terrible body, but he cooks like unbelievable food, like grass fed. I'm like, we're dialed in actually. I'm like, this is not what I thought Bobby would be. And we're sitting at dinner and talking to his ex and we're just chatting. And I'm like, yeah, I came down here to try to make the team. And I don't know if Bobby had a glow on already, but he's like, what? He's like, dropped his fork. He's like, looked at me. He's like, make the team. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you have zero chance of making the team. And I'm like, I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, dude, we have 13 one-way forwards. Like, he's like, just have fun. He's like, just tomorrow, we're going to skate hard. We're going to work out. But then I'm grabbing the 30 rack. We're playing 36 holes. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, we're not. He's like, dude, just have fun. Long story short, one of the nights I'm coming up the stairs and I see Bobby. He has a nice double staircase or whatever. Of course, he's rich. Wealthy, and I see him in the kitchen and his ex Danielle is over here on the left, and he's like, I'm like, what? He's like go back down. I'm like halfway up the stairs. I'm like getting the water, and I don't drink that much, but of course I'm hanging out with this idiot, and of course it turned into a little too much fun. And I turn the corner and she's staring at me, and I'm like, uh-oh. And I was like, all right. Good morning. I don't know how that escalated so quickly last night. And she goes, I know why. And I'm like, why? And she's like, you went out with that guy. And like screamed at you went out with that guy and pointed right at Bobby. And I'm trying not to die laughing. I guess this guy came home at night and just caused ruckus. Like just ruckus. Like just anything you could think of in the house is going down. Well, another dinner story. It was just ruckus, and so she was pissed. She was so mad, and basically she shunned me to the basement for like a week, and it was all Bobby's fault.
Yeah.
But then the best part of the story is the end. Is I'll never forget. This might not be completely accurate, but this is the way I see it in my head. So Clark MacArthur gets hurt first day or second day of camp or whatever, gets crushed. Bobby fights for him, insane. And basically Guy walks in to like try to make a speech to the guys. And it's like me, Pumple, Nason, Prince, Robinson, McCormick, all guys higher than me at the time at the list, right? And I'm on the bottom. And he's like, one of you guys is making the team. And I look over at Bob after we just had fun for about a month. And he's like, sorry, bro. Like my bad. He's like, my bad. And then I ended up making the team. And I think it was because I was such a nutcase, like so mentally focused on everything. And I got to just relax and play and not just had fun, but like did it a different way. And I ended up making the team. But I remember Bobby, like, his face was like, ooh, like, one of those guys is going to make the team now. And I'm sitting here golfing at every golf course in the world for the last 30 days with Bob. But.
So I've taken a beating on that over the years because I took a beating on when I gave it to Dzingel on the couch. We weren't having dinner. We had just finished dinner and actually we were having wine, shocker, back then on the couch. And Dzingel's like, I could knock this guy off. And I was like, dude, just have fun. But I'll never forget, like, and I've actually told everybody that's ever asked me about this conversation was like, and I told Dzingel this later in the fact, and he's like, no, you were just being honest. And I was like, I was being honest. We did have 13 one-way contracts, but if you want to go into that camp, you have to be pissed and you have to like have a chip, and you didn't have a chip. So I fucking told it to you like it was supposed to be told.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, it's a big brother moment.
Man, it was, we were just getting to know each other too at the same time. And I was like, this guy's going to be a little brother to me. I just knew that. And he still is. But I actually remember that we had that conversation on the couch, and like, I didn't really think anything of it because I think when you're hard on someone or that you care about, or you're just being honest, I walked away from that conversation. And I remember Danielle was like, dude, what? Like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, because I've been in that position. You have to knock somebody off, and we can have as much fun as we want. We had way too much fun, but you still have to go in the camp knowing that you have to beat somebody out. And you don't know that Clark MacArthur is going to get his, teeth knocked in on the first camp or day of camp. And then I'm going to apologize to you for maybe taking you to Lock March too much, but
I'm trying to remember what course that was. Some goat ranch you took us to the whole time, and
I love that place, man. I love Lock March Golf Course. I love that place. But anyway,
no, but seriously,
I took a beating on that one, and I want to clear that up because I was just doing my best, and I was like, that guy's got to be pissed, and if he has to be pissed at me to make the team, that's fine too. And then on the other side of that, the other story, that's absolutely accurate. We went out just a touch too hard one night, and I woke. Daniel was in the living room. Ryan walks up the staircase, and I'm just looking at him going, don't do it. Just do anything but go in there. Because I was making eggs for the group.
Looking back,
I was like, do not embrace, and you embraced.
When you look back and you're like in the moment, like it wasn't awesome. Like the things weren't that great, but then you look back, you're like, wow, was that time awesome? Looking back, like I was thinking, like, I'm gonna have to live in Bobby's basement. I want to like not step on his toes. I'm trying to make a team. I'm gonna be sent to Binghamton. It was such a like emotional anxiety type time. But then looking back, it was so much fun. And I feel like there's a lot of times in your life are like that. And like looking back, man, that was a good time. It was way too much fun, and I got to hang out with this idiot a lot. But it was a good time. And I obviously appreciated this guy. And a lot of the media stuff now is talking about him and negative light, and the guy's was unbelievable for me and still is. He's been a true friend. You can't say that a lot in the NHL where a guy actually has your back no matter what. So that was pretty cool what he did.
So Zinger, how about this in the story? Ottawa asks you to come a month early. You think they wouldn't foot the bill for a hotel? Like, come on. Like,
now you're
like
now
what's
I'm
going
gonna
on?
now I'm never gonna get a job in Ottawa. I got Guy Boucher hates me. Ford might not like me. And Ottawa.
Like,
See,
like
this is why I
usually-
don't come on podcasts because my stupid mouth just blabber. Are they supposed to pay the bill? Because I could use another 1,900. Send it this way. Let's go. What's going on? I didn't know.
You invite
I don't
your
know how that,
prospects.
but no, back in the day, I think like obviously you allowed to come in a little bit early, but I think when you come in that early, I don't think unless my memory's wrong, but
They don't.
I don't.
They still don't.
Yeah,
Should.
they still
don't.
don't. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So like I was like, man, I can't spend at the time. Like even if
That's a
you
lot of
have a little
cash.
bit of money, even if you have a little bit of money, you got to rent back here, and that's what sucks for a lot of guys. There's a lot of things in hockey that just don't make any sense, and we just do it to do it. And I feel like. And it's been that way. And like morning skates too, this just pops in my head because like, it's like, if you talk to any other sporting team about morning skates, they're like, wait a minute, like you're going to work out before your workout. Like it doesn't, I don't think science-based, like, we do a lot of stuff that just makes no sense. So that one of those things is, I'm in Arizona and there's 10 people that are amazing. My trainer here is unbelievable. And like any state that you're in, there's top-notch guys. Like I went into a gym, I moved here and Tage Thompson is sitting there. The guy's an absolute stud and his brother. So I started training with those guys and I'm skating with Matthew. You know what I mean? There's top dogs everywhere. And so like having to go there, obviously it worked out for me. So thank you, Ottawa, for doing that. I got to hang out with Bobby a little bit, but yeah, I think that's one thing that I don't think they need to do.
Dude, you have no chance.
Dude, he literally said that. He definitely had a glow on at the time. His story and my story, it's like the elephant in the room. When you got your clothes out, you're feeling the elephant. Everyone has a different story. His story is always 60% less accurate than my story. Like this guy was literally like, you have no chance, because it was true. Like I was a kid, right? I didn't look at Cap Friendly and look at every guy that was like, I had no chance. Like even if they wanted to play, like to this day, like even if you guys wanted to play, you can't. Like they can't trade. They have to trade a guy or move a contract, and they didn't. They couldn't. So he was being honest, but also I appreciated it because there's not a lot of honesty in this business, right? He's a lot of, we'll see, or this and that, because they don't want to. They don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to step on toes, and so that honesty was huge.
So I watch Bobby. I'm never sure if he's just angry, if he's going to say something about you.
No.
You came back to Ottawa. Oh, sorry. Actually, before I get back to your second time in Ottawa, you and Bobby become line mates. Your thoughts on that when that happened, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think it's so hard to like look back at those type of feelings when you like weren't a player. You know what I mean? Like when I'm trying to put my mindset of like, I was still coming up, right? I'm trying to like feel and remember what I used to think about. But yeah, I think like those first games of like actually getting to play with Bobby and like being on the line instead of just getting tossed up there with him. It's like, wow, I kind of made it. You know what I mean? Like watching him, when I was growing up and then being on his line, it's like, all right, like now I'm the real deal. But like, you can't really think that way while you're in it, right? You just kind of just go right. If you think that way, you get complacent or you get nervous. Or so like, I kind of like was just like, oh, whatever. But like looking back, I was probably like, damn, like I'm second line with Bobby Ryan. Like I've made it, and then it was easy to play with him because I could put up with his shit and I literally wanted him to have the puck the whole time. So I'd fly, I'll create space for him as much as I could. And whenever it was in the corner, I just get out of the way and get in the slot. And like, it was the easiest thing in the world because the guy wants to play one-on-one. So back then there's a lot of teams playing like man on man in the D zone, and it was free because then he would get beat out of the corner. He would beat somebody out of the corner, and then that guy would go to help, and I would just be sitting in the slot teeing off. So I knew how to play with him, and it was fun too because this guy he cared, but he didn't care. He wasn't one of those guys that was coming to the bench and acting pissy. And if I didn't make a pass to him, Carlson on the power play, if I missed his stick, he's rolling his eyes, and Bobby's like, "Can you just shut up?" He's like, he's just slugging Gatorade. Just leave me alone. He didn't care. Just give me the puck and get out of the way. He would literally say that. He's like, I'll make you rich, kid. That was his line all the time. I'll make you rich, kid. And he did. So we're good.
There's one thing I've learned with guys that make money, Zinger. It's like they care. You said it. They care, but they don't care. It's like you take the pressure off. You take the edge off.
Yeah, I think a lot of the top guys do that. I think it's a care, but people don't see it. You know what I mean? It's like they don't show it, and they don't.
Yep.
Obviously, he cares. He's not scoring
Yep.
40 goals if he doesn't care. But I always cared a little too much. So it's like it's nice.
Yep.
It's nice when you'll be able to be like that. So he obviously cared you down, but just leave me alone and let me do my thing. So it worked out well. And then we had Dutchy, and we had Turry, we had Gomez, we had guys that we had some characters coming in on the line. But I was kind of always with Bobby for a little bit there, so it was nice.
Yeah, we had some chemistry. Zinger was one of those guys that I would always be able, like, I could always figure out where he was, especially being left-handed. Like that right-handed to left-handed connection is huge. But I would the same would apply. Like I would just say, Zinger, if I'm one-on-one in a corner, just move, just leave. Like if you come to support me, you're bringing another guy, and it's just two more guys to get around. Like if I'm one-on-one, I'm gonna put a guy on my shoulder, and I'm gonna make the turn, and we're gonna get uphill towards the net. That was all I ever said. Just don't ever, And I was like, just get in the slot, put your stick in the rafters, and I'll make you rich. And
that's it. He did say that. He did. He actually said that. But the problem was then we got Duchesne on the line. We got both guys in the corners spinning like a top, and they would always chirp each other because they both wanted to play one-on-one in the corner. And I'm just sitting there in the slot like this while they both were just working the corner. So I think like this day, nobody really like builds lines anymore. Obviously, there's some big name lines that do it, but they always go to like, let's add a grinder to this line, or let's add this guy to this line. Like they think the way they build lines is just not right anymore. It's completely different. You need a driver, and you need a guy that can make plays and a guy that can score. Like it's that simple. And Bobby was obviously he's a superstar, so he could do all of them. But if you like brought him down to one thing, he's a driver of the play and makes plays. Like if he doesn't necessarily need to score, he could go and he can have 85 apples in one season and not score that much if you had two guys that were just ripping pills. So like obviously the top guys can do more than just that. But if you build the line second, third, fourth, and second, third, and fourth line, it's nice to have a guy that can finish, a guy that can make plays, and that's why they put the grinders in there, try to create space and get them the puck. But yeah, it was just nice to be able to play with Bobby because A, he could do both of those things, but B, like I just could get open and try to put the puck in the net.
I'm gonna open this up to a possible compliment for Bobby, which is tough for me, but how good was Bobby Ryan to play with? And I mean specifically the hands he had.
I tell everybody, I tell everybody to this day, like if this guy's on a breakaway, it's over. Like I've seen him do just weird stuff. Like I think at the end of his career, like obviously he cared, but he wasn't working as hard as he used to work, and he was still that good. If he worked as hard as I worked, like maybe not, because now I look back, I'm like maybe sometimes guys aren't great if they work that hard or dial their life in that much, like with the nutrition. And I used to think like, oh, this guy is doing this too much, or this guy's doing this too much, but it actually might help them. It helps their mentals, this and that. So, but yeah, if he cared as much from day one till at the end, this guy was gross. I've seen this guy go down on a breakaway and just move his stick because it's 13 feet long and just tuck it around the goal. Like I think I missed 45 breakaways my first year, and he's like, dude, just do this. I'm like, I can't. Like, what do you mean? He would literally skate down and just like literally pull his stuff he did is just wild. So I don't want to compliment him either, but yeah.
Well, you definitely didn't. Thank you. But you definitely didn't. Thank you very much, bud.
You would have tried, if you would have tried harder, Bob.
Yeah.
It felt wrong. It felt so wrong to give you a compliment, but yeah, he was a freak. He was.
But
skills.
Hey,
yes.
What did I tell you to do on breakaways from day one?
I don't remember. Probably close my eyes and shoot. It's probably what you said.
Just shoot low blocker. You're left-handed.
Yeah.
It works every time. You're skating 30 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Stop stick handling. You're not very good at it. Just shoot low blocker.
This guy acts like he knows. He never moved faster than 3 miles an hour, so he thinks he knows what I'm going through. Like I can't fly. I'm not McDavid. Like what McDavid does is so impressive because his feet and hands are moving the same. Like Bobby, Kaner, like guys at elite stick handling and making plays are slowing it down. But McDavid is going as fast as I was or faster and still doing the crazy Bobby stuff. Like it's wild. I don't know how he does that. But yeah, Bobby doesn't know what I was going through. I was just skating as fast as I could, slapping that thing on net.
Now, Bobby, do you remember the curve on Dzingel's stick? Because I have one because you gave it to my son and I took it. But that's the stick I use for hockey. It is so curvy. I don't know how you do anything with it.
But all in the front half of the stick, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because he was hard to pass to. It took me a minute to figure him out because I always wanted to pass to the flat part, and the flat part was not the front of his stick, which is the case for a lot of guys. But he had a toe curve, which allowed him to shoot the way he did, which is primarily what the league is now. I would say Zinger, right? Like it's a lot of toe curve, but yours was
wild.
Yours was, it never quite got to 90 degrees. Nobody does, but it was one of the bigger ones that I remember playing with.
Yeah, I mean, so like I used to use a square toe Lindstrom, and this is dead true story. I got to the AHL, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't have that." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, we don't have that curve. This is what you're gonna have to use this." I'm like, "This is a Sakic. This is completely nothing. I haven't used this in 20. Like this is not even the same." And they didn't have my curve for 3 weeks. I started using this, and I was literally like messing with it and bending it. And then I saw David Legwan's old stick in the rafters in Ottawa. I was like bending down, finding all these sticks in that little cubby little area. And I like looked at this thing and I started using it. And for everything I was doing to compliment like Bob and those guys, it's like, so I don't know if this is right. Like in hockey, like you get pigeonholed and kind of doing one thing unless you're a superstar. So I was a shooter now. I was a shooter and a skater. So I was always a playmaker growing up. And in college, I was an All-American. I was a disher. And then they just pigeonholed me as a shooter and I would fly. That's what they wanted. They wanted me to score with Bob or one of the other guys, compliment scoring and fly. So I was like, you know what? This curve is the best for me to do that. Like when I caught this thing, I don't know how much you're still playing, but when you catch the puck, it goes right in the shooting area. The curve is so big that it just like lands in the pocket. And I was like, you know what, if I'm getting this thing off and I'm not stick handling that much and this and that, like I'm going to use this. Like obviously if I wanted to score on breakaways and just dangle the whole time, my curve would be flat. Like I use that Draisaitl's curve. It's not that it's unbelievable. Or Kane's curve. You can just stick handle. Bobby uses a pizza shovel. So the fact that he's that good with what he uses is nuts. His curve's like this. It's terrible. But so I just was like, you know what? I can get the puck off faster. I can shoot harder. And I'm telling you that thing works for shooting. It's nice. But the stick handling and the backhand, we're not there.
I don't want to keep you much longer, but I got a couple of questions, Zinger. One, before you roll the video, Gavin, Zinger, have you ever been in a fight that you wish you weren't?
Hockey on ice?
Yeah.
Or off ice? I have a couple off ice.
Well, I don't know what the one's off ice, but you can, if you want to start there, go ahead.
So my buddies always joke around with me that I always pick like not the toughest guy. So my record's pretty good. I got some pretty good wins, but the one fight that I got absolutely destroyed on was Landeskog, and it was late in the game. We were up 4-1. Late in the shift, late in the game, up 4-1. And he picks the smallest guy out there. And I think I got 3 different sets of stitches on my face. But look, I land the last couple. Make sure this thing rolls all the way through. Because watch me. I think I took 16. Look at 3, 4. Look at me wearing these. Like, you don't see this nowadays. I'm wearing these like nothing. Look at that. Look at this. Look at me come back though. Right here. Yep. Right here. Watch this one. Look at it. Get the takedown. That's scored points. That's a 1-1 round. And if this is UFC, I think we tie that. I get the takedown. Look at that. I'm a rookie, so this is, you got to see the background. People just like to chirp me on that. All my buddies love the show. All my non-hockey buddies that think they're tough, they always show me this. Oh yeah, I love this. I love Burrow. He's freaking out. I love that guy just for that. I don't even know if he was just losing it. He was trying to jump the board. But so look at this. I eat one right here. Oh yeah, that felt good. I don't even remember what I was saying. Did Bobby tell you to show that? Like,
no.
Can we show one that can we show like my 30 other ones I win? Like, come on.
No, because it's like Matt Zuccarello.
Yeah, that was bad. I was late in the shift, late in the game. It was 4-1. Landeskog's 240 pounds. I'm a $180 soaking wet, and he picks the smallest guy on the team. That's when like the league was still tough, right? That's our first year. That's what we had guys could still chuck. And he picked me for some weird reason. And so when you're a young guy on a team like that, and right behind the bench or right by the bench, you see him shaking his gloves at me in front of the bench. And so see that? I squared him up. Look at that. It's bloody. Look
at that.
That's what I'd always say. Like, you might get me, but I'm gonna get you with one. Look at that. That's Chicago stuff right there. That's old school. Look at that.
You fought more than I thought when I was researching.
Yeah.
it.
He goes after it. Yeah.
Sneaky tough is the word that they
Yeah.
use, or something like that. You know.
I'll give him a lot of shit, but Zinger didn't back down, and there was no reason for that fight. I was actually hurt at home when I
I had to. What do you mean? He turned around, he's shaking his gloves at me, in front of the bench, and I'm a rookie, and I don't play that much, and he's shaking his gloves at me, and I don't even know where that came from. Obviously, he was trying to spark the team. I go, why don't you spark the team when you were down 1 and 4-1 with 2 minutes left? And I remember getting like 3 different sets of stitches. It was like forehead, top of head. And I come in and Dion's like, that a baby, slap me. And I'm thinking, I literally said out loud, oh yeah, that was great for me. I was like, yeah, I'm glad I did that. My dad was there. My mom was there. All my buddies were there. My hair was so blonde back in the day that it was red. Like that's but that was not the best.
I was thinking of a couple stories, and I'll tell the good ones, but we obviously got to play for Mark Crawford together, who is I don't know if you liked him as much as I did, but I thought Mark Crawford was one of the best people I've ever played for. I absolutely love the guy.
I got a story on that guy.
But I want you to tell the quick story of when you were you might not even remember it, but I remember you telling me when Guy and Marty
in the urinal. Was I in the urinal?
I don't know. Maybe save that one, but
no. We're gonna start with that one.
Yeah. Remember,
okay, here. I'll go with this one, and then you tell me.
Okay.
So I was literally there's 20 seconds left of the shift, and we're on the power play, and I'm on the second unit, and they dump it down. So it's 18 seconds. I look up on the clock. I just go peel it, try to dangle. Obviously, it didn't work, and they dumped it back down. The period ended, and I'm thinking like I'm not going to set up a breakout. Like I'm a rookie, but we're going to set up a breakout with 7 seconds left. I'm in the urinal and I'm peeing by myself, and the locker room's right there. And I look over and Crawford's like this close to my face as I'm peeing. And he goes, F you. Gives me you C-sucking mother effer. It gives me one of those. And he's just pointing at me like this. And I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm peeing this whole time. He's just pointing at me. He's giving me these. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. He just walks away. I pee. The boys are dying laughing in the locker room, and then he never talked to me again about it. I have no idea what that was. I was so confused. It was like Austin Powers when he's peeing and stopping and peeing and stopping. I was literally like, I was like, I didn't know what to do. And then he never said anything. And it was it was actually hilarious. And then we were buddies the next day, and that was it.
That's the best part about him. He'll absolutely berate you, but then be your best friend the next day. But I was talking about the one time when Marty and Guy, we were getting like close to playoffs, and you had like a career year, obviously. And we're getting on the ice, and Crow's got like his old skates on one time, and he's like, Zinger, get over here. And I'm like, oh, this is not gonna be good. That's my line mate. Where is this going? And he walks over and he's like, hey, they want me to be hard on you, but you make 1.5 and you got 25. I don't know what more they want from you, bud. And you come over, like that same laugh, you come over and start telling me the story. And I was like, that's a great point, because like he's realistic. Yeah, he's like, yeah, you make 1.5, you got 20 tucks. Just tell them I was hard on you.
Dude, yeah, he was actually a beauty too, because you know where you stood with this guy too. So that was funny.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about when Guy Boucher laid me down on the ice and put a puck in front of my face. He's like, what do you see? And I'm like, what do you mean what I see? Remember that one?
Yeah.
Dude, I gotta write a book. I mean, I don't even know if half of these should be coming out. Like, is that what guys just do? Do we just bury them? Like, you just bury are they just over? You don't get to tell anyone these great stories? Like, I feel like so many guys have so many stories and they're just buried. Like, I'll tell you, every time you tell me a story, I want to say another one. Like, you're talking about the spread crusher, Marty Raymond. I got so many stories.
Do you remember when?
Hold on, the spread crusher.
We're getting.
That's what we used to call him. That's what my boys used to call him, because the buffet line. He'd be the first in the buffet. The spread crusher. Great guy.
Do you remember? Oh man. God, I can't even remember what I was gonna say now.
If you go to dinner with me and Bobby, it's bad. Like it's like we could just go like there's man. You were talking about Luke Richardson. Me and Luke, this guy's the best. Like I have some stories about me and Luke. Like unbelievable guy. Like I got hit, and Boro. Like I was just thinking about guys. Like so, nobody knows this story about Boro. And if I'm leaving you, I'll give you one more, and then you can cut me off. But I was in the AHL, and I just got thinking I was the man, whatever. Just signed from, All-American in Ohio State. And first practice, I actually get in the lineup over one of the players. Won't mention his name, but I get in the lineup over one of the players, and I'm thinking like, whatever. Like I didn't think it was a big deal because we're heading in the playoffs. But we're doing a drill where you just skate back, lift the guy's stick, and go down and shoot. Next guy goes, lift his stick. So very easy drill. And I get annihilated from behind in this drill on purpose because this guy took this guy's spot. My gloves came off. My helmet came off. I'm plastered. Like, because you're thinking like, here, lift my stick. And he just destroyed me from behind because I took his spot in the lineup. Boro skated from the other side of the rink, shedded his mitts, and beat the living piss out of this guy. Like just killing him. And then I heard after in the locker room, he tried to attack him in the locker room too, because he's like, I won't let anyone, do something like that on this team. Like that was so ridiculous. Like I'm not going to let, I'm a leader of this team. That was one of the worst things I've seen. He's like, kick him off the team. Like he was so mad at this guy. Luke put his full gear on. This is dead true story. He's their head coach in the AHL. He puts his full gear on and goes to play with the scratches. He's like, whatever the guy's name was. I was about to say his name. But he's like, get out here. He goes, we're battling. He's like, let's go. We're playing 3-on-3. This guy goes full gear on. He's like trying to run over this guy for picking on me, basically, or picking on somebody. They don't even know me, right? Boro and Luke don't even know me for anything, but they're just doing the right thing, right? And so that's pretty cool. Like that's how Luke is. Like Luke is class act. Like the guy put his full gear on. He's retired. He's our coach. And he's battling one of our fighters on the team that ran me from behind. Like that's wild. Like unbelievable.
Okay, how much longer did that guy last in the roster?
I can't see with that. So I feel like my memory is so bad because I was so focused on like myself, right? Like my whole career, I was like trying to get to the next level, trying to play well. So I feel like a lot of my memory is like faded from my career, which sucks. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but
yes.
I don't know. I don't know if I was just so focused on myself or like trying to be great that I didn't enjoy the moment as much. But yeah, I don't know if I would like to say he was done like pretty soon after that. It wasn't like they're like kick him off or whatever. I don't think it was that malicious, but yeah, they weren't too happy. So
before we go, you have played with Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle as you came back in 2021 and played with Josh Norris. Can you give us your assessment on this group of Ottawa Senators? And did you enjoy the trip back to play for Ottawa? I think it was 29 games.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I didn't enjoy it at all. I think I had to,
and it was COVID.
I had to sit in the Brooksby for 18 days. They had police check on me all the time, and then it was just a weird situation. I think I scored 6 goals in 6 games, 1 goal every single game after not practicing for 18 days. They were kind of like, hey, it is what it is. You're going to be on the 4th line with Wally, and you're going to you know what I mean? It was just a weird situation. So that's one of those things. I don't know why. Like, love to call Pierre down the road one of these days when I'm done and be like, hey, what was that all about? It was just so weird.
He's not taking your call.
Yeah, he will. He will one day. Yeah, but I don't know. It was just a weird situation because I don't know why it didn't make any sense for both teams, right? You guys are in a rebuild. You took on $3.5 million, and maybe there was just no reason for it. But I was trying to get to a team where I could play again, right? Like I was kind of like I was in Carolina doing okay, nothing great, and they kind of were like, yeah, let's get you traded, move you. I was talking to Roddy and like, let's move you somewhere you can play. And then I got traded here, and like I was scoring, and then so it was just a very weird situation. You guys were in a rebuild. You had some stud kids that need to play, get experience. Makes a lot of sense, but then why would why bring me in if I could have went somewhere else? So it's one of those things you never really know. And I would love to, ask questions down the road, like what that was all about. I was doing really well, and I didn't deserve to play because you guys are in a rebuild and you're trying to get the kids get ready. So it just didn't make any sense,
It was a weird one. It was weird.
Right? Like, I don't know what you guys thought about that, but that I to this day, I try not to think about stuff. I just let it happen. But then you ask the question, like, man, I don't really know what the point was that, I'm not sure. So
no, it didn't make sense to me either. I was like, where are you going to play him? Like, he's not a fourth line player.
Yeah.
I guess,
So
I got 14 days of great text message exchanges though. we were talking a lot back then, and he's like, "Dude, it's day 12 in the Brook Street." And I'm like, "That can't be good right now."
man, my wife probably wanted to kill me. You want to talk about mental health? Whatever, 17 days in the Brook Street with a dog that I wasn't even allowed to take out, and my wife is credit on her for staying with me. Holy moly! And then and then my buddy passed away that same year, and then I wasn't playing. It was just a weird situation. But yeah, for the guys on the team, like, those guys are the real deal. So like when I got there, you kind of like hear things, or back in the day, like, these first rounders are supposed to be good or this or that, but these guys are actually the real deal. Like, just was the absolute real deal. Like, the guy can play, and I didn't get to see that much of Norris, but obviously the guy looks like he can absolutely score. He's built very well for, like, he's sturdy kid, and like everyone's talking about his injury, I think he's going to be just fine. Like, he's all those guys are the real deal. Like, looking back before, you see some guys first round, you're like, ooh, like, I like the the Maple Leafs guys that they have over there, some guys to build off of, and I didn't know if Ottawa had that. And then I went there, I'm like, yeah, these guys are the real deal. So it's a very good base to build off of, and then obviously I heard some of these D-men are legit too. So, but Stützle and Chucky and Norris are the real deal. Even Batherson, that guy can play. So
yeah,
they got a heck of a core there.
Can you just tell us the lying down facing the puck story?
I don't know the exact details of this story, but I remember, like, he was trying to get me, like, to score more goals and see what the puck was seeing. Something crazy like that. Like, we had a lot of crazy stories. Like, I hope Guy never sees this, because I love Guy, and like he's just this dude's funny. Like, he just did some outrageous funny stuff. So I'm probably gonna bite my tongue on that one. But yeah, I think I was
okay.
I think I was sitting down on the ice or something. I was landing. He was like having me look at the puck to see what the puck was seeing, or so. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't wait to send this to him.
Oh,
it's okay. It's okay.
He's the only guy that gave me a chance. So, Guy, I'm sorry, but why'd you scratch me that day? That hurt. Guy, that hurt.
I'm trying to get a mental picture of that. So, Zinger, was the team surrounding you, and you're like lying on the ice, like looking at the puck?
Oh, no, I think we came out early, and I think I was like, I had the puck like up here in my chin area, and I was looking at the net. But I thought you meant when I was scratched. Like, I thought you were talking about, was the team around me looking at the board? That would have sucked, man. Zinger, no. I don't even know if Bob remembers that. That one was, I don't know if you remember that at all when I got scratched. I was in the parking lot for that game.
But if you talk to one person about it, who do you think it was? I remember it. And I was like, yeah, I still got to play tonight, pal. We'll talk about it later.
That's so messed up.
I got to go.
I did not text you right away. Get out of here.
No, you didn't. You didn't. No. But between 6 and 7 was a long 2 days of text messages with the kid.
Yeah, I'm soft. What are you going to do?
Nearly 7 years ago, Zinger, before we let you go, I just wanted to bring this up. Maybe you remember it. I asked you at practice one day if you would come out and skate with the Stittsville Rams, and you came out. It was my son's team. I think they were 9 years old, and went on the ice and gave them a memory they will never forget. And so that day has always reminded me of the person that Ryan Dzingel was. That was the day that you were fantastic. And then I turned around to find you afterwards, and some coach had pulled you into another locker room to give a pep talk to another team. You were so good. And even your now wife was there at the time watching in a cold rink in Stittsville. You do this for these kids. So that I just want to say,
which is crazy. Like I told you, I don't remember a lot of stuff. I do remember that. I remember every little detail of, that's what I loved about Ottawa, is like when I got traded to other teams in Carolina and Columbus, and obviously I wasn't as big of a player as I was in Ottawa at the time, but you could walk down the street and help people. Like, you could literally go out of your way. And like, yeah. And so like when I was in Carolina and Ottawa, I would go every 2 weeks to the CHIO hospital, and I made some unbelievable relationships there. And I tried to do the same thing in Carolina, and I'd be like, hey, do you want to come see a hockey player? They'd be like, oh, does he play for UNC basketball? Like, I'm good. Like the kids were doing like legit treatment, and they don't have time for it unless they really cared, right? But you go to CHIO and you go to Ottawa, anywhere, and you have a lineup of helping people. So like I don't know if that's one of my gifts or whatever with kids, but I've always liked to, do that. So it's easy for me. I don't know why. It's just always been something that's fun.
Yeah. Well, the memory was lasting a lifetime. So that is just appreciated. And I just wanted you to know that. Also, I want you to know you had more 20-goal seasons than Scott Gomez.
Wow, really?
Whoa. Well, he was a playmaker. Yeah. Not the Dzingel. Not the Dzingel. I never got any tap-ins.
I should never came on this. This guy just threw me on a bus like 6 times. Like now Scott Gomez is gonna think I'm an absolute douche. I never said that. Allegedly said that.
I can't wait to I'll never forget, and I'll tell this story very quickly because it's like we've been at this way too long, and Zinger, nobody's paying me enough for this anymore. But we were driving home. Do you remember when we went to it was the Barclays Center, I think, back then, where they were playing the Islanders, and we had to drive back into the city to catch the flight. Where I'll never forget, I was sitting on my phone on a stoplight after a game. We had won. It was just quiet, and my phone rings, and I look down and it says Scotty Gomez. From a text message. I looked down and he goes, I live 4 blocks to the right of here. Should I just go home? We had 8 games left. He goes, can I just go home? And I was like, you're not, you've made a lot of money. Just go home.
Yeah. Hey, before we leave, he's thrown me under the bus so many times that I had to throw him under the bus with this story. It just clicked in my head. To this day, Dion Phaneuf got so mad at this story, he doesn't know who did it, and I'm throwing him under the bus. Listen to this story.
Wow.
We were at New Year's, and Dion gave it to me. Dion, at the time, I hated this guy, but he was so good to me at the same time. He did a lot of stuff for me, but man, was he hard on me. He was hard. This guy was hard on me, but that's how he came up in the NHL. Blah blah blah. He took care of me with a lot of stuff. But one thing he would always do is whenever there was a party or something around, he'd always try to get me rattled. So I think he clapped the glass or something, and told me to give a speech about my girl or something. My wife, Elise was there at the time, and something about, I don't know, something crazy. I proposed to my wife or something. And so I was so awkward. I said some terrible speech, probably. I was embarrassed. And Bobby and Boro knew it. And they're like, watch this. And I'm like, what? What do you mean watch this? He's like, we got your back. So Bobby took a giant piece of chocolate cake right in his new Tom Ford jacket, shoved it right into Dion's jacket. And then Boro and somebody else took butter and salt and poured it in. Dion was so pissed. To this day, a week later, he's like, Zinger, if you don't tell me, I'm putting everybody's car on block. He's like, tell me right now who did that. I'm like, man, I got no clue. I got no clue. And I literally, it was Bobby. If Dion ever watches this guy, it was Bob. Full chocolate cake, mousse and all. This guy, Bob.
Right in a $3,000 jacket. And didn't I tell you? Well, I'll never forget this because it was New Year's Eve, and I actually said he's never gonna say anything to me if it was me. He called every player on the team trying to figure out who it was, and the one person he didn't call was me because he knew it, and he knew that I would go back at him in every sense of the word. He let that one go because he knew. But yes, there was a full piece of chocolate. There was butter. There was salt. There was everything. And Boro was
so mad because he was untouchable, right? Dion thought he was like, I'm untouchable, and the boys went after him, and they had my back. And I think Brass was in there too because him and Brass always butted heads. So
they did.
Yeah.
I love it.
Nobody ever said a word to me about it.
That was awesome.
It was good.
How on earth did you guys get to within a goal of the Stanley Cup final?
Yeah, that's why all this crap that's happening is the reason why, because that's fun. We were just living and having fun. I think people overdo it these days. It's still a team. You still have to be a team and have fun. And looking back, it was one of the hardest years of my life because I ended up living with Brass instead of this guy, and I had Brass and Dion all over me all the time. And this guy thought it was funny. He would always just chuckle. And I was just I was always getting annihilated from both sides. And looking back, it was so fun. Because we just had a group of characters, man. It was just, it was just a good time. But yeah, we should never have got that far. We were one goal away. If Weidman didn't flamingo on that wrister, we would have had a cup, man.
Well, I can't wait for part 2 of the Ryan Dzingel interview, but we'll have to wait for another time.
I'm literally cut off for a couple of years because I just burned I don't talk to any of those guys, but now I burned so many bridges because Bobby threw me under the bus.
Sorry, buddy.
Hey, Zinger, Bob sent the text out before you came on. He goes, Zinger is coming on firing. Wait till you guys see.
I was
gonna come out way worse. I was gonna come out firing because I was actually thinking about it because hockey's been frustrating me with like a lot of things. And I was like, Bob, I'm coming out firing. And then I was like sleeping on it, like, you know what? Maybe I should just go like, a little handgun, like nothing crazy. Cause like some of the stuff and some of these GMs and people that are in high power, like, well, what's that going to do? You know what I mean? But at the same time, you want to tell your stories, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, I don't know.
We're gonna shelve them because I've had to piss for an hour, but you got booked. you got booked on a Southwest flight at an NHL training camp last week.
Oh, guys.
Arizona. Booked the boys on a Southwest flight for a preseason game.
Oh my goodness. You want to talk about some clown shows here. Our bird went down. It wouldn't work on the runway. We came back in. All right, we fixed it, came back on the bird. It was 180 degrees. Everybody's sweating. Everybody's naked on the bird. Couldn't go. We went back out. All right, we got it fixed up. We went all the way to the runway. No, we're out. Okay, it's 9:00 at night. All right, we're have to get a plane tomorrow. All right, actually, let's just take a Southwest flight at 7 a.m. and we'll sleep in the airport. No hotel room. You ever see anything like that in your life?
No.
The National Hockey League. That's when I said, "Yep, I think it's time to retire." That's when I had to do Southwest flight. Arizona Coyotes Southwest flight. You ever see anything like that? Middle seat. I'm in the middle seat like this. Middle seat. Southwest flight. Slept in the hotel. Slept in the airport.
Oh,
you ever see anything like that in your life?
No.
No, that's the first.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go, but I want to ask about the arena, but I'll leave it for another time.
Don't do it, Zinger. Next time.
I'm cut off forever. I'm never
Save
coming
half
back
a
on
clip.
here.
We'll see you next week.
I like to see you guys once every couple of years. This has been awesome, but I don't want to burn any more bridges. I got a lot in the clip for next time we go to dinner. All right.
Perfect. Well, Bobby will pay because he's wealthy.
That's fine. Yeah. Go take.
He always pays.
Yeah. I always pay.
As you should. All right. Enough's enough.
All
All right,
let
Zinger,
you go,
take care.
Go take some Nutrafol. Call it a day. It's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good to see you too, man. Thank you
Congrats
guys.
on the new baby, by the way, as well.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Zinger. That was great.
Yeah,
man.
no worries. Thanks,
All
guys.
right, see you, Zinger. Boys, we will see you on Monday.
Okay,
Four
we
shows
gotta
this
take
week.
we gotta take a breath here, fellas. That was a lot. We got a lot of
Yeah.
stuff to take in here.
Yeah, that'll hold you over for the weekend until we start with the week coming up. And Bobby doesn't want to talk anymore. So
No, we're good. Yeah, he's a
See you-
beauty though, eh? One of
Yeah.
my favorite. Dude, I absolutely love that guy.
Love
He's
him.
one of my
I can
become
see
one of
why-
my best friends in hockey. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why you like him. Just salt to the earth.
Yeah.
we
he
didn't
is.
even get to his nickname Hollywood. So
Yeah.
we'll
I'll let him tell that story.
yeah. Because yeah. Anyway. All right. We'll see you on Monday, everybody. Thanks for watching.
See you guys.
Coming in Hot is brought to you by Botano.ca. Please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to never miss an episode.